What is up, fans? We are back, and you already know what time it is. It is your boy Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. LNU, shout out to LNU, shout out to Motor City Cats. Uh, okay, Frozen, good. Okay, hold on. We I don't know what's happening with the freezing, but we're gonna see. All right. Um, One thing's for certain, three things for sure. When you see me in front of TV, number one, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. Number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very, very easy, very simple. And I will tell you right goddamn now. Smash the like button, subscribe, share with your peoples, and make sure you share, especially today. Because once you've shared with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, you name it, you name it, you have indeed cared about these people. We're going to get right into it today. I had some things planned, but it just didn't work out. I was going to come in with the oh boy, back like I never left, but you know what it is. Frank Ragnow. Breaking news. Frank Ragnow is back for the Detroit Lions. Some of you may know Frank Ragnow is former All-Pro center. Some of you may know Frank Ragnow as the best center in football. Some of you may know Frank Ragnow as the best center you've ever seen in your life. When last seen, Frank Ragnow was a beaten, broken man who didn't feel good. His body didn't feel good. His toes had betrayed him. He was going to ride off into the sunset or into the frozen lake in Minnesota ice fishing. He was going to ride off and enjoy his millions, his multi millions, and his family, his new baby, his wife, child, all of that. He was going to do all of that and leave the NFL life behind. And he did that. He did that for the offseason. He did that for training camp, for the preseason. He did that for the Lions first 6 weeks of the season. He did that for the Lions first 8 weeks, first 9, first 10, first 11 weeks of the season. But he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take it anymore. He came back in like the Wolf of Wall Street. He said, I'm not going to leave. They said, what? I'm not even leaving. That's what Frank Ragnow said. Well, he left. Don't get me wrong. He left, but he's back. He's back like he never left. This is exciting. This is a shot in the arm for the Detroit Lions, the fans, because let's be real. Let's be honest. It wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good. I sat before you yesterday and I went off. I went off on one Melvin Bradley, Matthias Cornelius, Jerome, Jermaine, Tito, Jackson, Holmes. And I said that he had failed this team because one, he did not have a valid plan in place. He didn't have a valid plan in place to deal with Frank Ragnow's absence. He wasted draft picks with Isaac TeSlaa moving up to draft a wide receiver that you don't even use. He did a whole lot of stuff with those third-round picks. He drafted Prodrick Martin, right? Prodrick, right? Because it's Project and Broderick put it together. He drafted Project Martin. He drafted Hendon Hooker. He drafted Manu Ginobili, not Ginobili. And he drafted Isaac TeSlaa. All of these guys could have been drafted. Okay. With the exception of Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was drafted much later than he was supposed to be drafted. We already know about the ACL and all that other stuff. Isaac TeSlaa, maybe he was going to be drafted in the third round. Maybe he was not. Whatever the case may be, don't think it was all that important. But Manu and Broderick Martin were drafted much higher than they would have been drafted if being drafted at all. Manu probably would have been drafted just off of his freakish athleticism. But you don't draft these guys with third round picks. I'm sorry. You don't use a third round pick for Manu to move up in the fourth to draft him. You don't spend a third round. I'm sorry. You don't waste a third round pick on Broderick Martin. It's still negligent. It's still malfeasant. It's still all of those things. And Frank Ragnow being back doesn't change the fact that we wasted 2 second round picks on Isaac TeSlaa. Okay? Because I've seen some people today. This news is pretty fresh. I mean, it happened about 3 hours ago, maybe 3.5 hours ago. So I've seen people talking about, oh, Brad knew all along. No, sorry, stop that. We're not doing that. We're not. Now, if you want to crown him, then crown his ass. Okay? But we're not letting him off the hook. We're not letting him off the hook. The Frank Ragnow news got a pep in everybody's step, and it's got us to going. But at the end of the day, unless Frank Ragnow plays tomorrow on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay Packers, it really doesn't matter today. Now, what it can do today is it can give them a shot in the arm for tomorrow. But guess what? The guy that we lamented, the guy that we said ain't doing all that great of a job anyway, and Graham Glasgow, guess what? He ain't playing. He's out. Okay, so it's going to look like maybe Tristan Colon is going to come in there and be your backup center, right? Brock Wright is out. He's not going to play tight end for you tomorrow. Okay, so it's looking like Frank Ragnow is coming back just at the right time, but Frank Ragnow is not going to be able to do anything tomorrow to help you win, except give you a shot in the arm, give you that new center energy. Remember, I said when you get a new something, you get a boost, right? So he's coming back. Hopefully, he's going to be on the sidelines helping those guys out tomorrow. But unless he's in uniform tomorrow, this Packers game is still in doubt. And we're going to get into all that. Robert Stevens said Ragnow didn't see this coming, but Glasgow is out tomorrow. Rough day for the O-line at the back. At the backups is healthy. Right. Frog Crop, what up though? Frog Crop doesn't say much. He speaks in emojis. Belinda Brown says, what's happening? Frank Ragnow's back. This was happening. Center Frank Ragnow is coming back for Dallas. He may come back for Dallas. He also, he may come back for Dallas. They're saying maybe the Rams, but everyone seems to think that it'll be Dallas. He could probably play. I mean, if he's kept himself in shape and things of that nature, he probably could play, but I don't think he's going to play tomorrow. I think it would be a small miracle for him to play tomorrow. Brenda Witt says Rags back for Rams. We don't know. Okay. It may be it may be the Cowboys. It may be the Rams. Okay. They've said that the target is the Rams, but we know Frank Ragnow. Remember, he tore a pec and missed the game. Okay. So let's not say too definitively that he's gonna be, he says I'm mute, LMAO. I don't know if we should really be laughing. I think Frazier is playing tomorrow. He has been activated. We're gonna get into all of that stuff as we break this game down. But of course, we had to get into the breaking news. I don't even know if I don't know. Can y'all hear my sounds? Let me see something. Let me see if y'all can hear this.
But I don't know if you can. Can you hear me clearly? Is there any difference?
Can you hear me clearly? Is there any difference? I don't even think there's a difference.
I don't hear a difference. But one that would be
So I'm just cussing because if you can't hear the difference. Okay, now it does work on it. I can't hear it, so alright, because I had some sounds on there, but I haven't used them in such a long time. Let's see what my sound is. Okay. So y'all heard that, right? Okay. I can't do nothing, but it is it. Cause it's what it is. Alright. And I don't know why I can't hear it, but only so I can hear it. So I like a submarine. Or I'm gonna change it to make sure that I sound it well.
Let's go back to the normal one. Okay. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and look at the. We're gonna look at the injury report right now. You guys are impatient. I swear. All right. Lions, Packers injury report. All right. I guess we can go. No, let's go DetroitLions.com. You know, whenever you go with the other people that be trying to throw in articles, I just want to see the players. All right, on this injury report, Graham Glasgow, knee, Monday no practice, Tuesday no practice, Wednesday no practice, out. Kirby Joseph, knee, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday no practice, out. Josh Pascal, edge, back, full practice, no practice, no practice, out. Khalif Raymond, wide receiver, ankle, no practice all 3 days, out. Brock Wright, tight end, neck, no practice all 3 days, out. Okay, so that is it for the out people. Terrion Arnold, questionable, limited practice all 3 days. Marcus Davenport, shoulder, full practice all 3 days, questionable. Taylor Decker, shoulder, limited practice all 3 days, questionable. Miles Frazier, knee, full practice all 3 days, questionable. Tate Ratledge, knee, limited practice all 3 days, questionable. Penei Sewell, ankle, limited practice all 3 days, questionable. Isaac Tasla, hand, limited practice all 3 days, questionable. Sione Vaki, ankle, thumb, and everything else, limited practice all 3 days, questionable. Brian Branch, toe, ankle, limited practice, full practice, no designation. Jacob Sailors, back, shoulder, linebacker, limited practice all 3 days, no designation. All right. So the people, once again, for the people in the back, Graham Glasgow, Kirby Joseph, Josh Pascal, and Khalif Raymond and Brock Wright are out. Okay. I think the thing that's going to have the biggest effect is going to be Graham Glasgow and Brock Wright on the offensive line. They are out. Everyone else is questionable. What did you guys hear me say about questionable? Questionable is the new probable. Okay. Questionable is the new probable. So if anyone is questionable, I don't believe that they will not play until they are officially downgraded to out. Once they are officially downgraded to out, then that is what that is. But I don't think anyone on the questionable list will be out. We know about Penei Sewell and we know about Taylor Decker. They weren't really expected to do a whole lot of practicing going forward, and yet they both were limited participants in practice. So even though they weren't expected to do much practicing, but be ready to play in the games, they were both limited participants. Miles Frazier, his clock started a few weeks ago, so I think he's going to be good to go. Tate Ratledge, you gotta play him. We don't have too many more bodies on that offensive line. So if you're saying, okay, well, Miles Frazier, let's fill him in for Coyote Awasika because Coyote got his ass beat and handed to him against the Giants. Let's see what Miles Frazier can do. Now, y'all know that Miles Frazier played 3 years, didn't give up any sacks in 3 years at LSU. So that's a guy that can protect your passer. That's a guy that can protect Jared Goff. And then if he does a good enough job, maybe next week you see him right alongside Frank Ragnow, and that'll be phenomenal, right? Jared Goff is top 10 in pressures and QB hits this year. That's not a recipe for success. But so I saw a comment in here. Dolo Dynamite says screw Glasgow. That's great, but you got Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary coming to town. I don't want those stunts and Micah Parsons coming up the middle. Tristan Colon better be able to block. The assumption is that Graham Glasgow being your starting center, not anymore, but for the first 11 weeks, he was your starting center. Okay. So the assumption is that he should be better than his backup. Because if he's not better than his backup, then what are we doing? The backup should be starting, and the starter should be the backup. So I hope Tristan Colon can be better tomorrow. I hope he can play a good enough game tomorrow to be better than Graham Glasgow tomorrow. But it's going to be tough not to have Graham Glasgow in there. Now, again, Belinda, to answer your question about Davenport, I don't care. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care. I mean, Marcus Davenport, man. I hope he plays well and stays healthy. That's all I got. I don't have any excitement. I don't have the energy right now to talk about all the reasons why it doesn't matter if he's back or not. The Lions love him. Dan Campbell loves him. I don't. I don't, because you don't play. You're always injured. You've played 2 games in the last 4 years. Okay, congratulations. This will be number 5. If you make it all the way through. I mean, if we want to be technical about how many games he played for the Lions, he hasn't played it 4 games. He's played in 4 games. He's participated in 4 games. He hasn't completed 4 games. Last year, he completed game number 1, missed game number 2, played about a quarter and a half of game number 3. Out. Okay? This season, he played game number 1 and game number 2. He was in and out of the game due to injury. He got injured and came back, and then he injured something else. So it's close to 4 games. 3.5. Okay. So congratulations. If you can play the whole game, this game, then you played 4.5 in 5 years. I'm sorry, in 2 years. All right. What up, though, Tactical Sport? I'm sure that was an answer to a question that I asked before. Oh, that was about could y'all hear me? Yeah, it was a voice changer. Yes, he's still injured. This is game number 6, I'm guessing. Which sucks because we know that Jordan Love likes to throw those lollipops up in the air. Brian Branch isn't having a great season. So we need Brian Branch to have a game like we know that he can have. Tight end is a concern for sure. We've got what's his name? I forget the dude's name. Dwindle, Dwelly, I think it is. Go back where I was. Where was I? We get a week until Dallas, then 10 days off for games 14 to 17. Well, we just got to worry about Green Bay right now. More skipper this game, quite possibly, yes. Because if we're dealing with Dwelly, who's your third string tight end, I don't know. he needs a trash can. He don't need a bucket. Glasgow was playing guard before. He didn't like playing guard before. Or was it that he was playing right guard and he wanted to play left guard or something crazy, bro? But I don't think Fiskner is I remember that name, but I don't know that he's the tight end now. I think it's Dwelly. The Humo line. Tesla, maybe. Wide receiver Raymond is out. Foot swollen. Tight end is tough. Yeah, Tesla is questionable. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this game. Frank Ragnow, awesome. Probably not playing tomorrow. So let's go ahead and look at some numbers. Last time I looked at the numbers don't work. The numbers don't matter. But, it's just some context. We're talking about Green Bay being a top 10 defense. We've had problems with top 10 defenses this year. So let's look at the numbers for the Green Bay defense. Total defense, Green Bay Packers are number 4. Okay? The Green Bay Packers are number 4. They give up 278.7 yards per game, and they've given up 21 touchdowns. The last 3 games, I believe, the Packers have held quarterbacks to damn near 200 yards. I think it was 202. So just over 200 yards they've allowed. That's not good. Okay? The Lions, even after the shellacking of last week, as far as yards given up, they are 10th at 312.3. They've given up 29 touchdowns. So they've given up 8 more touchdowns than the Packers. And they give up, 312? The Packers 278. Okay. So what is it? 35 more yards per game, somewhere around there. All right. Passing defense. The Green Bay Packers are number 5. They give up 182.3 yards per game, and they've given up 13 touchdowns. 182 yards per game. We've got a makeshift offensive line. Going against Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. We've got a quarterback who has not handled pressure well, mostly this year. And this is what we're facing. Tristan Colon, good luck. Miles Frazier, if you're playing, good luck. Coyote Awasika, Good luck. I mean, it is what it is. It's the cards we've been dealt. Okay. So as I said, the Packers are 5th in passing defense, and your Lions, I'm pretty sure, have dropped very far down. Yeah, they're 15th. After last week, giving up 210.5 yards per game, and they've given up 21 touchdowns. Okay. So here's the thing. The Packers have given up 8 fewer touchdowns than the Lions. 7 of those are through the air for the Lions. 7 of those. Or is it 8? Have they given up 13? Yes, it's all of those 8 are through the air. Okay. So the Lions have given up 8 more touchdowns through the air. All right. Rushing defense. The Green Bay Packers are just out of the top 10, out of the top 5 at number 6. This is the first place they've been out of the top 5. All right. They are 96.5 yards per game. They've given up 8 touchdowns. The Detroit Lions are now 11th. They were 10th. After last week's game, they're at 101.7, and they've also given up 8 touchdowns. Okay. All right. Scoring defense. The Green Bay Packers, top 5 again. 18.4 points per game is what they're giving up. The Detroit Lions are number 12, 22.1 points per game. Okay. Not too much difference there. Red zone defense. The Green Bay Packers are finally out of the top 5. Where are they? Finally found something that we can exploit. The Green Bay Packers are 19th in red zone defense right now, and I know ours is less than that. We're at 20, more than that. We're at 25th, 61.1. So we don't really have an advantage. I mean, that's an advantage our offense can exploit, right? Because they're 19th. But if we're talking about the two defenses together, the Detroit Lions don't have an advantage over the Green Bay Packers right now. Third down defense. The Green Bay Packers are okay. Well, they're 10th. They're tied for 10th with the Bears. 36.4% is the conversion rate. However, the Detroit Lions are 9th. They're 9th. They're giving up 36.2. So it's going to be equally tough for both offenses to get third down conversions. And that's it. So there's only 2 categories. Well, there's only one category where the Packers are not in the top 10. It's only one category. Right? And I think that was red zone defense. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We talk about a top 10 defense. I mean, hell, the Packers are 7th overall, maybe 6th in defense. It's not going to be easy, bro. It's not. And they're in our division. Okay. So you've got a team that's in your division, which you should never overlook. And then you've got a team in your division that has a top 10 defense, which you've struggled when you play top 10 defenses this season. So I don't know. Fisk is a pass catcher. Draw play. That's your answer. Oh no. What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? Detroit needs 2+ turnovers for this one. Miss you, Kirby. For sure, we miss Kirby. Because that's that man's father. First off, it's your boy Motor City Diddy, aka Mr. Boss Up, and get this rag now. What's it looking like for the playoffs? I think that with Ragnow back, the playoffs are back on the table. Um, I, I don't even want to say even if we lose this Packers game, because a lot of people had us losing one more game down this stretch. But you don't want it to be the Packers, and the reason you don't want it to be the Packers is not just because they're in your division, but because they beat you before. So sweeps are hard to overcome. It would be very hard to say that the Lions could be swept by the Packers and they could still win the division. I cautioned everyone that was talking about I don't care about the division. I said be careful what you wish for. There were a lot of people when the schedule came out, and I didn't understand the energy that they were coming with. I didn't understand it because it was dumb energy. It was dumbass energy. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't care about the North. Just get to the playoffs. Well, winning your division is the easiest path to the playoffs. You should care about the North. Every year you should aspire to win the North because if you win your division, it gets you to the playoffs. There is no question about it. There's no the seeding, all that stuff doesn't matter. You are in the playoffs automatically. You have an automatic bid. Okay. So I don't care about the division. I didn't understand it. I really didn't understand it. It was a very casual energy. The division is more important than anything else in the regular season. Right? And it's like, oh, what about staying healthy? Yeah, okay. Because you get to the playoffs, then anything can happen. The playoffs are funny that way. Right? So the Packers beating you puts a very, very large dent in you winning the division. And then if you go 11-6, again, remember the year that Tom Brady had the ACL and Matt Castle came in and he guided them to 11-5 record. Guess what they didn't do? They didn't make the playoffs. It can happen. It can happen. So, yeah, that's just crazy talk. What are you talking about? We got Davenport back. What are the odds in Vegas that Davenport makes it through the game? I don't know. Probably slim to none. I don't know. We have the opportunity to play all three, so air and opportunity. That's true. Wild card could be anyone, man, and extra risk. Right. That is true. We beat Tampa, we can beat anyone. Tampa's looking kind of shaky, baby. You know. But we didn't beat the Packers. And that's the thing. I'm not saying we can't beat the Packers. We didn't. With Frank Ragnow being back, like I said, I do believe it'll give them a shot in the arm. I do believe they will be playing with a different type of energy because he's back. You know, they're next man up. Yeah, tomorrow. You got to get through tomorrow. It's going to be next man up. But my belief is that they're going to be able to have a bump. You know, I think they'll have a bump in energy tomorrow. That's just what I believe. Yeah, NFC South is soft. Very. They've always been. Changing my Rams loss to a win. With Frank Ragnow back, yes. I believe so. But Davenport is getting 5 seconds tomorrow. Listen. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Okay. If we're watching this game tomorrow and we see Davenport going into the blue medical tent, I'm not gonna say anything. If somebody mentions it, I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I'm just not gonna say anything. Again, you want him to play, you want him to play well, and you want him to be healthy throughout the entire game. But sunshine and rainbows. Sunshine and rainbows. If was a fifth, you know, pee in one hand and hope in the other. You know, all of the cliches and all of the sayings, you know, that you can think of. You know, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd have been a bike. You know, things of that nature. You know, um, my father always says if my torso grew is he said if my torso grew as much as my legs, I'd have been like 6'6" or something crazy. I'm like, and you look funny too because whose torso is as long as their legs? That's just not how people are made. Uh, but that's just that's you got to cope somehow. So if your coping mechanism is to believe that Marcus Davenport, and I know Tactical, you're being sarcastic and facetious, but there are people out there whose coping mechanism is to believe that Marcus Davenport is going to come back here and he's going to be the missing piece to the Super Bowl. If that is what you deal with every day, I'm sorry for you, and I hope you get better. But for me, as I said, if we watch that man get hurt, I'm not going to say anything. I will refrain from speaking about what happens. Tampa has been in the dumps since getting dunked in Detroit. That's facts. Like Cotton Hill got his shit shot. Freaking Packers chat saying they're gonna whip ass tomorrow. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they say that? They beat us. Look, how did we feel last year after the first game after the first Packers game, and then you had to play them again? After the first Bears game, and then you had to play them again. After the first Vikings, and then you had to play them again. We had all the confidence in the world because we beat them before, right? And then we wound up sweeping them. Every team in the division last year, we swept them all, right? We even swept ourselves right out of the playoffs. So it was what it was. Believe in a lot, not Davenport. All right. Y'all want to see how these offenses stack up? Let me see. I haven't looked too much at the offense. I've heard in the beginning of the year, I heard so much about this offense. So now it would be interesting to look at what the offense is. All right, total offense. Your Lions are number 4 at 378.5, and we've scored 40 offensive touchdowns. Not bad. I think we've recovered well from the Johnny Mo debacle, even though we didn't do great with the Eagles. Points wise, I mean, numbers wise, we were decent. Okay. All right. Your Bears are number 6. Let's see. Who are we playing? The Packers? Okay. Bears are number 6. Packers are 13th. 338.9 yards, and they've scored 40 touchdowns. So we've scored 10 more offensive touchdowns than them. And we average 50 more yards per game. Just about 50 more yards per game. All right. The lowly Vikings with JJ McCarthy, a team that we somehow lost to simply because they were in our division. They are number 28. Not only are they number 28, but we've scored 17 more touchdowns than they have. That's crazy. All right, passing offense. Your Detroit Lions are number 8. Okay, number 8 in passing offense. 238.6 yards per game, 24 passing touchdowns. Your Detroit Lions. The Packers are 14th, 222.5 yards per game, and they've scored 16 touchdowns. Rushing offense, your Detroit Lions are number 3 at 139.8 yards per game, 15 rushing touchdowns. The Packers are at 15th. Okay, the Lions are number 3. The Packers are 15th. 116.5, 14 touchdowns. Okay. Now, there is a difference of 12 spots between the Lions and the Packers. Okay. So don't you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt. Okay. There's a difference of 12 spots and 23 yards per game. Okay. If the Packers just got 23 more yards per game, they'd be where the Lions are. All right. There's a difference. Touchdowns for sure. I'm sorry. There's a difference of 1 touchdown. I was looking at the Colts. The Colts have 22 rushing touchdowns. The Lions have 15. The Packers have 14. So there's a difference between these two teams of 23 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, that's why you got to look at the eye test and not just the numbers to tell the story. The Packers offense looks bad. It has struggled to put up points. It has struggled to do anything against teams with a pulse. They've found ways to win games. They've won games ugly and so on and so forth. But we don't count the style points for the wins or the losses. We don't be like, man, you lost in style, boy. You put up 700 yards over there. 700 yards and 70 points. That was so good. Yeah, but the other team put up 800 yards and 77. So they lost. That's understandable, right? All right. Let's look at some more of this offense. The scoring offense, Lions are number 2 in the scoring offense. They scored 29.6 points per game. I feel like this isn't. I mean, okay. I feel like we're lower than that, especially with those little clunkers we had. And the Packers are. I'm sorry, I forgot to look at the Packers. The Packers are 13th at 23.9 points per game. Okay. Now, that's where it matters. We are 6 points ahead of them, which means we are 1 more touchdown per game ahead of them, which, if we're being honest, the Lions are favored by 3 because they're at home, which means that this is a pick 'em, right? Those 6 points really can make a difference. Okay. I tell you, the yards don't make that much of a difference. There's 1 touchdown separating them in rushing and so on and so forth. That's 6 points. That can make a difference. Okay. So the Lions are second in scoring offense, and the Packers are 13th. Okay. And as I said, 23.9, 29, 6-point difference. Okay. All right. Red zone offense. The Detroit Lions are number 7 at 65.1% of the time. They're going to score a touchdown in the red zone. Guess where the Packers are? We know where the Packers are because they're Josh Jacob merchants in those situations. They're number 6 at 65.9% of the time. So the Lions 65.1% of the time, the Packers 65.9% of the time will score a touchdown in the red zone. Okay. Third down offense. You guys aren't going to like this one. The Packers convert 49.3% of their third downs. Guess what that ranks in the NFL? Anybody in the chat, you want to guess? It's a very simple number. It's number one. It's number one in the NFL. And we know the Detroit Lions ain't nowhere near number one. Where I start looking for the Lions at the bottom. Yeah, we're 24th. We haven't done well on third down this season at all. We're 24th. We're at 36.5% conversion rate. It's not good enough. Bang, bang, bang. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. You know what I mean? Bang, bang, bang. It's not enough. That's all I can say. What else can I say? What else can I tell you? All right, we've got a few more. No, that was it. Okay. So third down efficiency, the Lions are number 24. The Packers are number 1. Right? Now, obviously, there's some context in there that we didn't talk about as far as third and long, third and manageable. Well, you know what I mean? The Packers get to third manageable quite often, which is why they're the number 1 converting third down team in the entire NFL. The next closest to them is, hold on, I had it here. The next closest to the Packers is the 49ers at 46.4%. Okay. So, listen, this ain't going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But we got to have it. Okay. And I'll get to your comments. Then we'll look at the Packers injury report, and then I will give you my score prediction. All right. The blue and white Wizards sees Detroit +2 turnovers over the Packers. If we get 2 turnovers and they get none, or if we just get 2 more than them, I'm happy about our prospects. JJ McCarthy had like 5 sacks and 2 interceptions last game. Yeah, JJ McCarthy's not good. He had 84 yards of offense last game. He's not good. You know, he's a rookie, but he's not a good rookie. Maybe he'll be a better sophomore, a better junior, a better senior. I don't know, but he ain't good right now. If Tesla can get separation, Goff might trust him. Well, that was the problem with him coming in, right? No one thought that he could get separation because he couldn't. So he had to rely on his hands, right? He had to rely on his hands. That's it. I'll go up and I'll get it with one hand, and you can't stop it. That's all. Telling you, JJ was juiced in that game. Juiced as in is that type of juice? I don't know. What kind of juice was he? 28-20 is your score prediction. All right. That was messed up not giving Taylor the ball down the stretch against the KC defense. Sometimes people get scared and try to outcoach themselves and outthink themselves. And just they won't stick with what's working. You know? They just won't. Glasgow's out tomorrow. Yeah. I love when y'all come in late, like with with news that we covered an hour ago. Look, if you come in this late, we probably already covered it. Rams just went like 35-9. Yeah, they I think it was 35-7 or something like that. Yeah, they put belt to ass. Packers are weak in their red zone on D. We need to get out of second down clean, avoid the pass under pressure. We need to be, gaining yards on first down to get second down and manageable. So that if we do get third down, it's 3rd and 1, and we don't. I don't want to say we don't have a new risk, but 3rd and 1 is a lot easier to get than 3rd and 6. He's faster than Raymond now. Who? Tesla? Why? Because Raymond's foot is swollen. All right, let's look at the Packers injury report. Let me see. All right, Packers.com. It's not enough. Just list them. Thank you. All right. I feel dirty on Packers.com. All right. Carl Brooks, defensive lineman, ankle, DNP. He is out. Javon Bullard.
Cooking with
Javon Bullard, ankle, limited, full participant, no designation. Edgerrin Cooper, no designation. Romeo Dobbs, no designation. Matthew Golden is questionable with a wrist injury. Nate Hobbs is questionable with a knee injury. Josh Jacobs, no designation. He is playing. Jordan Love has a shoulder issue, but he has no designation. He is playing. Keyshawn Nixon, neck is questionable. That's the only one that I would look at to possibly get ruled out because he has a neck injury. So if you're questionable with a neck, nah, I don't really think that's the new probable. But if it was questionable with a knee or an ankle or shoulder, I would say he's probably going to play. But that neck thing, no. All right, Jaden Reed is out. Foot, shoulder, limited. He is out. Zach Tom, offensive lineman, back, limited all the way through. No designation. Lucas Van Ness. You guys might remember Lucas Van Ness. The last time you saw Lucas Van Ness, he was wreaking havoc on the Detroit Lions. Everyone was talking about how he was a bust last year. This season, in week number 1, he looked like somebody that we used to know. Okay? You didn't have to cut me up. Okay, you already know what it is. Somebody that I used to know. Right. He's out. Okay. He's got a foot injury. He did not participate in practice the entire year. He is out. I find Packers.com very disorganized. You know what, Lions.com, it just goes out, and then questionable. Yeah, I've got to go through this whole thing and find who's, it's not listed in any type of order. It's just, So let's see. Christian Watson. Oh, sorry. Quay Walker. Neck. Questionable. Again, what did I say? Neck. You could be downgraded to out. It's a neck. They don't play with that neck. As somebody said, and he didn't get it. Just give me a little bit of neck. I think he was talking about Tesla, and he's got a long neck. He was like, just give me a little bit of neck. I was like, oh, yo, pause. Anyway, Dontavian Wicks, calf, limited, full, no designation. Savion Williams. Everybody may know Savion Williams as a kick returner. And he is a gadget guy over there on the offensive side of the football as a wide receiver. He has a foot injury. He did not participate throughout the week, and he is out. Okay. My score prediction for this one, my prediction of how this game is going to go. Right now, I'm not confident in the win, but the only thing that I can tell you is we can't afford to lose. And when you face a team that can't lose, I think there'll be a different type of energy. I think there will be because you're in their house. Frank Ragnow should be in attendance, I hope, on the sideline. I think he galvanizes the team. I think they go off and look at him on the sidelines, the offensive line, the quarterback. Frank Ragnow calls the protections. He can tell Jared Goff what he's seeing out there, so on and so forth. He can get in his ear. So I think that just having him there, being on the sidelines, everybody anticipated, hey, he could be back next week. We could be going to war with our brother again next week. I think they get the dub, but I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be somewhere like 17-14 Lions. 17-16, something like that, something crazy. Yeah, not picking any more blowouts in divisional games. I'm not going to do that. But this one, as I said, I'm worried about this one. I'm worried about it. Marcus Davenport doesn't move any needles for me. Right? There's a seismograph, and I'm looking at it, and it's like it's an earthquake with 7 on the Richter scale. It was huge. It was moving all the needles. The needles were going crazy. And then you put Marcus Davenport on the Richter scale, and there was no movement. I was like, is there something on the scale? And I look over and I see Marcus Davenport, and I was like, is he actually standing on the scale? Like, can he actually? No? Okay. So Marcus Davenport. Sorry. Blitz 44% and chase him around. We talking about Jordan Love. We're gonna be needing to get up for the game in LA. Tomorrow is just the build up, talking about 3 home games. The next 3 are big. Every game is big. Okay. The rest of our games are NFC games. They're all either divisional opponents or conference opponents. You can't afford it. You got to get up for everything. You can't afford to drop games. Luther Vandross, same guy, smooth player. Pride of Detroit cleans up the Packers injury jumbo. Yeah, I already did it though. I already went over there. Actually, I got to get this crap off of I had to close the tab. Not have Packers.com up on my screen. Happy Franksgiving. Facts. It is Franksgiving, right? And Frank needs to be giving us a dub with his energy. It needs to be infectious. Hey, he needs to be in the house tomorrow. He needs to be on the sidelines with his brothers. Rag should be with us on the road. A good sign, mentor dude, nice fella, big on family. I thought, and I said, he might want to travel or he might want to just be with the team, but that's not what he wanted to do. But he got his, his love for football is still there. It's still burning desire. Whether he's gonna stay on for next season or not, I don't care. Get a center, Brad. Don't do no stupid stuff. Come on now. Look, you got to prepare for the future. Whether Frank Ragnow plays just this season or if he says, I'm going to give it a whole season next year and that's going to be my last season, whatever the case may be. Brad, draft a center. Draft multiple centers because we need it. All right. You know what time it is. You know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. No. Mailbag. What you want to do? What you gonna do when they read in you? Mailbag. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, let's get these mailbag questions in, man. As I said, I'm going with 17-14 or 17-16, something like that. I think it has the makings of being one of those Philadelphia Packers games or one of those Philadelphia Lions games. And hopefully the Lions can, have learned their lesson from having a game like that just a couple weeks ago. And they're able to come out on top this time. So true. The Wizard said something about a red zone test down. Maybe it's possible. I don't know, man. I'm out on not really the player. I'm just out on the entire situation. The wasting of the draft picks, the lack of usage of the player. I mean, he's got less than 10 targets this season. And you gave up 2 third-round picks for less than 10 targets. I don't care if you were planning on him playing this year or next year. You gave up 2 third-round picks for less than 10 targets. That's crazy. That is crazy to me. All right. What was that? If Davenport is moving your meter, you might be 6 feet under and pushing Daisy. We scored 28 points out of spite for their 27-13 cheaters win. I don't agree that they cheated. I think the Lions look like garbage. Our offensive line was miscommunicating. There was nothing going on in the offense, no imaginativeness, no creativity, no nothing, and that was Johnny Mo. That was Johnny Mo. That's not going to happen. The score might be the same, but it will be reversed. Mailbag, are you confident in the -3 spread being covered? I don't do spreads. What does that mean? Like, so does that mean that they'll score the 3 points that they're favored by, or is it like that? Like they will beat them by 3 points? Is that what that means? I'm not a gambler, so I forgive me. Plus a third rounder around 2 next year. A third round 2. Lions win big. Monty 2 Ds. JMO 2 TDs. Why everybody got to have 2 TDs? Mr. Detroit City. Mailbag draft. Brady Small, biased opinion, was the best rated run blocking center last year. Stats screwed due to Army's offense, but he's a beast. So I would assume that Army, Navy, Air Force, they're not doing NIL stuff, right? Because you're going to the Army, you're going to the Navy, you're going to the Air Force, so you're enrolled there. Whenever you tell me a school like Army, and I said the NIL stuff for a reason, because there are no schools now really that are major in college football where you can be like, oh, that was a small school. He went, No, he went because he got paid. So it's just like, what's the level of competition that you're playing? When you're playing at Army, you're playing at all of the other, armed forces. You're sending people to, um, you're playing Navy, you're playing Air Force. This level of competition, I don't know. So I kind of caution that approach. It's the same thing I said about Ashton Genty. Was I wrong about Ashton Genty? He's decent. Is he going to be the superstar that he was supposed to be coming out of college? Or is he going to be another Kevin Smith? Kevin Smith had the same thing. He was breaking all these records, but he played at Central Florida. And then when he got to the Lions, he was just decent. He was never anybody crazy. Hutch gets 2 sacks. Everybody gets 2 of everything. Well, you may be right. We played cautious of a head injury and failed. Plus 4-point win. I don't gamble either. Okay, so if they cover the spread, then they will have a 4-point win, and the spread is -3. I would say no then, because as I said it would be 17-16 or 17-14. Either one of those, I can see happening. uh 25 third plus 2/3 next year. Oh, no, it was the 26 and the 27, right? I thought it was or no, it's 2/3 from next year. That's crazy. Yes, 2 TDs. Right, I got you. Spread is 1 red, 2.5 points. If you bet Lions must win by 3 points. Okay, that's the covering. Okay. We do. Bunches of meat. The academies have a separate competition for the CNC trophy each year. Army is capable, I guess. That's what I'm saying. I don't. If you're telling me he's a beast, but like I said, they play different competition. Will Navy make this? Can they make the conference football playoffs? I don't even know if they're eligible for that. Both Glenn picks we got in our third next year, 2026. That's effing ridiculous. That's effing ridiculous, bro. I mean, when you say it just becomes more ridiculous, right? So we're like, well, Aaron Glenn, you didn't. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. All right. Any more mailbag questions? Again, y'all gonna have to bear with me. For the last time this season, the game comes on at 5 a.m. for me. So, the game starts at 1, right? They changed it from 12, which is when it usually is. All right, Robert, we will catch you tomorrow, man. So yeah, I gotta try to get up at like 4:30. And when I tell people to wake me up, they forget. So hopefully my son won't forget. And yeah, I'll be on time. but don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. I will set about 6 alarms, try to get myself up by at least 4:45 so that I can get ready and be online by 5. What? How does that taste? This is Rainstorm. It is kiwi blend. It's plant-based energy. It tastes pretty good. And I guess depending on my amount of sleep that I got the night before, it works better than Red Bull. Something like that. For me anyway. I have a caffeine tolerance, so a lot of times stuff just don't work for me. Only thing that works is sleep. Frank makes us Super Bowl contenders. He does, because he cures the ills of the offense. Like so yes. And our defense is just gonna be our defense. And they've been pretty good this year. So, you know, they've been top 10. So that's better than pretty good. Navy is 8-2. Get your REM sleep. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. It is still dark here at 5 a.m. then and at 5:30 p.m. Where are you, Duncan? You talking about Frank Ragnow next year? I thought he would this year, but he's gonna play this year. So um so 5 it's 6 a.m. here is right now. 6 a.m. is when the sun rises. And it gets dark at about 9 p.m. So the days here during the summer are super duper long. Okay, yeah, because you're going in the winter. You're headed towards winter. So for us, we are heading towards summer. Right. So as I said, the days in the summer are super duper long. 6 a.m. sunrise. The sunset is a bit before 9 p.m., but it doesn't get totally dark until after 9 p.m. Like the sun goes all the way down behind the equator, under the equator or whatever, after 9 p.m. All right, y'all. I appreciate you for hanging out, coming through, stopping by for a drink and conversation. Get one more here. Weather is great in Florida right now. Hey, it's bipolar here, so but like now, whenever you see me with the hoodie on in the house, I'm cool. It's okay. But like the other day, I didn't have the hoodie on, just had a t-shirt because I was like, I'm not finna sit up here and sweat. You know what I'm saying? I am in Melbourne, Australia right now. So yeah, that's a story. That's a story. All right, y'all. As I said, we will be back here tomorrow. I will be trying my best to get some sleep and to get up so that we can stream this game at 5 a.m. for me, 1 p.m. for you guys. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Storm now on the lakeshore. Hey, I can't complain about the weather. Avo Falsters. Australian forbid. I don't even think they have it. All right, we are out. Peace. I'll catch y'all in the morning.